So I'm going to go over my projected, I think I already had one on my projected time limit. Sorry, I was shooting for 10 minutes. We'll see if we can get this done in, well, 15 or less than 20. But we definitely are going faster than we normally do. Most earthquakes do strike without warning. Yes, there are some warning signs, but none really to do anything about if you weren't prepared for it. So you want to plan. You want to have some sort of plan in place so that if you do have any kind of warning, you can actually act on it. For example, just decide on a good place to live. All right, if you don't want to be around earthquakes, then don't live in an earthquake-prone zone. The information is out right now for where earthquakes tend to live. It didn't used to be back in the early part of the 1900s, but now, yes, you can know if where you're living is an earthquake-prone zone or not. Do we have any long-term forecasts? Well, not really. We have likelihoods that, or you might say percentages, that an earthquake could occur in a certain area, but no forecast saying tomorrow or 6 months from now we're going to have an earthquake in such and such practical quite just yet. We do have a National Earthquake Hazard Reduction Program developed by the USGS. And so we want to be able to understand the source of earthquakes, what actually causes them. I think we have somewhat of a handle on that, and the potential to release energy. We know some of the effects of earthquakes, and we can, and I'll tell you one thing, insurance companies have a great handle on the effects of earthquakes and how much to charge you for that. But these are some of the goals of the USGS earthquake system, preparation system. Like I said before, your insurance company, if you're going to live in California, they know exactly where in California you are going to be living and exactly if your place is in an earthquake-prone zone or not. And so your rates are going to be adjusted accordingly. So there's definitely some low-risk areas and some very high-risk areas as well. Well, we had this information right now. So move to these areas. Do we have any prediction? Well, there's some short-term prediction. There are foreshocks, kind of like the cracking of a stick before it breaks. Not really a whole lot of warning. This is kind of interesting. Land elevation, we can detect whether if land is tilting. We have these things called tilt meters. And so if it tilts enough, it tells us that pressure is building up underground. Gaps along faults, all right? Another indication that the ground is moving, the land is moving. And it can even, groundwater levels can even be affected by, earthquakes can be affected by groundwater levels. So if they drop suddenly, the groundwater levels drop, then it could be an indication that you've got an earthquake coming, or even is caused by the groundwater. All right. So how do we predict earthquakes in the future? Well, we can't. Like I said before, we really can't predict them. But the goal is to make some long-range forecasts that are reasonably reliable, some short-term predictions, and some intermediate range forecasts as well. But the problem with this is, what if we do have a system that we do believe in? All right? If predictions are made public before they're vetted, what vetted means is if they're evaluated to be true, then it can really cause panic and all kinds of unnecessary response if the prediction isn't actually all right. So how do we adjust to the earthquake hazard right here? Well, let's not put things like I don't know, football stadiums on the intersection of 3 faults. I'm just saying. All right. So University of California, Berkeley has a football stadium right on the intersection of 3 faults. They didn't know about it, but going forward, let's not do that in the future. Okay, we can take buildings and we can retrofit old ones or build new ones that are actually earthquake resistant, so they can withstand the shaking. All right, and finally, education. Let's just tell people what to do. Hey, if a tsunami is coming towards you, let's run away from it. All right, and let's move to higher ground. I've actually seen tsunami warning signs in Hawaii, where it says you're entering a tsunami area or you're exiting a tsunami area, depending on if you're moving up or downhill or not. So giving as to what to do when we have an earthquake is another way that we can mitigate that threat right there. What else? Insurance. All right, insurance companies are very aware of earthquakes and their hazards, let's make sure we improve insurance so that it actually covers people who are at risk. Right here, guys. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer than I had hoped. What can you do, all right, to increase the likelihood that you're going to survive an earthquake? All right, make sure your home is structurally sound. If you live in an earthquake-prone area, make sure the foundation doesn't have any cracks or any places where it's been compromised. Large objects. Let's say you collect large, I don't know, armoires or something like that. Okay, that is large pieces of furniture. You might want to tack them to the wall with either like a rope or some sort of a tie to prevent them from falling over in the event of an earthquake. All right. How do you react to an earthquake? How do you react to an earthquake? Well, this is what a lot of people don't know what to do. That is, they don't realize that earthquakes, you may not have water for a while. You may not have electricity for a while. You may not have a lot of regular, you might say, services. So to stock up is really to increase your likelihood of surviving an earthquake, to be prepared. When you are in a building, when it's shaking, go into a doorway. All right, because a wall is it's a place of strength in your house, and if you make yourself part of the wall, that is, go into a doorway, you're likely to survive that. But don't leave the building until after the shaking stops. All right, because you have to run through open rooms, and open rooms are danger places. You want to stay within a wall or within some sort of corner near a wall until the shaking actually stops. When you do go out, go into an open area. All right, so you're not near anything. Second to last one here, guys. Hang in there. So what did we learn about the Tohoku earthquake? Is actually what it was called in 2011. All right. Well, they weren't really expecting this to be as big as it was. There was a smaller earthquake, 7.2. That's actually pretty big, but they didn't realize that was going to be a foreshock of a larger earthquake. So we're learning to read earthquakes better so that we know if they're actually an earthquake or if they're simply a foreshock. All right, 500 times more powerful than history suggested it would be. So you've got your Pacific Plate, which is subducting pretty much under or from all directions under the plates around it, and so it slid under the Eurasian plate. That is the plate that holds Asia, Russia, and even Europe as well. And even the tsunami itself that was produced was a lot larger than predicted. There was an automatic warning system, and this is kind of nice. The alert went out 8 seconds after P waves were confirmed. That's probably the fact that it was automatic is what made it so fast. If you were prepared, if you had the ability to prepare yourself, you could actually act on that. But if you weren't well prepared or you didn't know what to do, those 10 seconds probably wouldn't have done much to life. Interestingly enough, the shaking that occurred collapsed very few buildings. All right, people were able to escape. There's only really superficial damage to the buildings that were in Japan or near the quake. It was really the tsunami and liquefaction where buildings sunk into the ground that caused a lot of the damage. Landslides as well. All right, so what have we learned from the Japan earthquake of 2011? Well, we learned a little bit more about how to understand, predict, prepare, and survive earthquakes. The earthquake and tsunami, how they are related. We have a better understanding of that. All right, and so because they had that warning system that went out automatically, we've already started to push for a similar warning system just in case something like that were to come towards our west coast of California or even possibly Hawaii. So that's it. There's a couple at the end of our notes. There's a couple summary slides right here, but I've already gone. Oh my goodness, I'm at 20 minutes right now. Sorry, it's probably still faster than I would have done it in class. So that's it. You guys are going to need to be responsible for the stuff on the test. So if you have any questions, come see me. But we're going to be doing some one-day projects on Wednesday and Thursday leading up to the test. So come see me on your own time if you have any questions about this stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.